How's it going, everyone? Welcome, and thanks for joining me on my presentation about real-time and AR, or XR, sorry. All this kind of came about when I first started at Agora. I did a little bit of research and presentations around AR, mobile, like whether it's going towards web or app. And around that time, I had highlighted a little bit about, where streaming is going within the AR ecosystem and made some predictions. And at the time, I thought it was pretty far off. So I'd mentioned, this is the future of streaming. But fast forward 6 months, and that future isn't really waiting until tomorrow. That future is coming, this afternoon. Blame Moore's Law or whatever you want to call it. But augmented reality and immersive realities in general, or immersive technologies in general, have really matured over the last few years. And it's made it clear that there's a very strong demand coming for live streaming and real time within these virtual experiences. So today I want to kind of walk through what is XR, what is a shared experience, what's the current state of the XR union, we'll call it, what is this XR cloud delivery, and our need to stream, walk through a couple examples, and talk about some tools that are available for building these real-time XR activities. So let me start out by, who am I? My name's Hermes Frangoudis. I am a developer evangelist here at Agora. But before I joined the Agora team, I was the team lead for Blipper's commercial team. We focused on building commercial AR experiences for big brands. We helped Porsche launch their 2017 Boxster. We helped Spider-Man fight Vulture across all your cereal boxes. We brought the M&M's caramel to Times Square and took over Times Square in augmented reality. So my background is really in AR, VR, and I see, part of the reason I really see Agora as the future in this is because of how simple they have made live streaming and being able to create these real-time experiences. So we know about AR, we've heard about VR, we've heard about MR. These are all different technologies that are immersive technologies, and they have different levels of interaction with the virtual world. And in that sense, I want to kind of use a blanket term. And in the immersive technologies world, we use extended reality to kind of cover and encompass everything that has to do with these virtual environments. So what is a shared XR experience then? A shared experience relates to using multiple devices to be viewing and interacting with the same 3D objects and 3D content in real time. So we saw a little bit of this with the announcements of ARKit 2.0 and recently with 3.0, but streaming and shared experiences go way beyond just Apple's platform. It permutates to Android, to web, everywhere. So what's the state of this XR union? Well, recently we had some new announcements from HoloLens and Google coming out with their 2.0s. We had some recent acquisitions by Magic Leap. Where else are we going with this? We had some new ARKit announcements at WWDC. So, sorry. So let's start off with the wearables. Recently, HoloLens 2 and Google Glass 2 were announced. And those wearables are mainly focused towards the enterprise, which kind of leaves a gap for that bedroom developer. But don't worry, because Nreal and Epson have both come out with sub $500 headsets. So I have a feeling we'll be seeing a lot more to come from that bedroom developer market still. Where am I going? So aside from the HoloLens and Google's, we saw that Magic Leap is actively investing in these real-time shared experiences with their recent purchase of Mimesys. What Mimesys does is they make virtual collaboration and co-location for AR devices. So not only now traditionally how it would work was you'd have this virtual avatar that would kind of sync and represent you in the virtual world. But what Mimesys does is they hook up some volumetric cameras, capture your body in 3D space, and project it into the other person's headset. So now you're actually seeing a real physical representation of the other person in real time with you. Hey guys, none of my notes have come up here, I'm sorry. I apologize for this technical difficulty. So, aside from Mimesys, we also have another really huge announcement in the world of streaming in the virtual worlds, and that's Google's Stadia. And the whole premise of that platform is that the internet speeds have gotten so good that you no longer need a console to download the games. You can just stream them in real time. So that's going to be really, really a key indicator of where the industry is going. If Google believes that we're not going to need these console devices, only imagine where this is going to go in a couple years. So right now, we have all these siloed XR experiences or AR experiences that exist in Facebook, Snapchat, and the way that they're delivered is through cloud delivery. So typically, what does that mean? You pull out your phone, you open up the app, you look for some sort of trigger. In Facebook, Snapchat's instances, it's your face or the world. You tap a button, it then downloads and launches the experience. Now, this can be kind of a tricky thing. So if you notice Snapchat, Facebook, whenever you use their platforms, they limit you to about 4 megabytes. And that's because they don't want to ruin that magic number. While I was at Blipper, we found, because we did a lot of cloud delivery, and all of our projects, we had to get creative. Because we weren't like Facebook or Snapchat. We didn't cap the experience size. So we had experiences that were 80 megabytes, 100 megabytes. We built entire apps in AR experiences. So we had to get creative and time the downloads properly. So we'd download just enough to get the experience going, and then in the background, download more. And looking back at the time, if we could have live streamed these, or stream these objects in, it would have made our lives significantly easier. And that brings me to my next point of, in cloud delivery, there's also a lot of pain points. So in our Facebook, Insta, we have these single device experiences. Really sorry, guys. These notes are not in sync with. Sorry. So a lot of the issues around file size, distribution, scalability appear when you're talking about delivering with cloud-based experiences. So what does that mean? Well, when you're looking to have an entire world as an AR or virtual experience, you're not going to be able to have the user sit there and download an entire gigabyte for this experience. They're going to want to download it in pieces. And this is where streaming is really going to help us. But we're not exactly there yet. So with everything moving towards this AR cloud and, with everything moving towards the AR cloud and the release of 5G, the demand for leaner apps with minimal load times means a greater reliance on edge computing, multi-user synchronization, and that'll all continue to increase that demand. So take, for example, this picture I have up here. This is from the University of Washington study where they took soccer games that were on the TV, they applied machine learning and AI to segment, do the motion tracking, body capture of each of the individual players, and then they projected them using a HoloLens in AR in front of you. So right now, this is great for a single user, right? You don't have to worry about lag or delay in delivery. But imagine if there's 10 people watching the same experience. So we're talking about the future of watching sports. You're no longer going to watch it on a flat TV. You're going to see it in the world around you. And in order to get that to really work, you have to have sub-second latency. You have to have proper synchronization. And all of that as a developer is really difficult to build. Thankfully, there's companies like Agora that have already done it. But this is going to be the future of where we see things moving. So one of the things that this slide was supposed to represent is actually collaborative shared experiences. We're talking about companies like Spatial that are now working with Microsoft to allow you to have what are known as spatial rooms, where everyone can wear their Microsoft headset, they can make notes in AR or VR, post them in the room, take them off, walk away. Someone else can come back in later, put the headset on, and continue to interact. And this is something that's going to be launching as part of Microsoft's Teams due to this spatial integration. Another interesting app that's coming out is, that's come out is called Pharos. It's an app that features collaborative XR leveraging Google's AR cloud anchors, which are now cross-platform, so we see them making their way from just Android to also iOS. And then two more apps that I'd really like to highlight are Roomful and VR Jam. So Roomful is here. You can go see them out front. Alex is actually sitting right here in front of me. And one of the cool things that Roomful does is very similar to what I was just talking about for Spatial, but they let anyone do it for their own apps. So you create this virtual world, this virtual environment, you place whatever interactive items you need, your teams can join in, no special hardware, this is all on the web, right, Alex? Yes. So we're talking about mobile apps, web, streaming, this is the future of these experiences. VR Jam, which is another conferencing solution, takes another approach to it where they use motion capture software. So they'll map out a room like this and then recreate it in the virtual environment where a speaker like myself would wear some motion capture bodysuit, and then that would get played back into the virtual world. So if people couldn't attend the conference in real life, they could still attend it virtually. And there's no need to fret about long distance. It really tightens the gap and brings people together in that sense. So we've talked about certain technologies that are implementing streaming real-time technologies, but there is a real gap in the market right now. There's very few players out there. Sorry, Alex, not to create extra competition for you, but right now there's a lot of technologies that are also working to democratize a lot of the issues that we're having with scalable AR and scalable VR in terms of advanced features like network delivery, which is somewhere where Agora is going. But we also have companies like DepthKit, which are using the Microsoft depth sensor with a DSLR camera to provide volumetric video capture at a cinematic level. So similar to what Mimesys is doing, but at a significantly higher level of fidelity, we'll say. So you can use these kind of technologies along with things like Watson and Google Vision to not only, like, let's say, identify things that are happening in the video scene, but if we're sharing, take the Bose headphones, for example, or the Google headphones, where you're taking in an external external audio source, and then you could convert it in real time to another language. So we're talking about, in the future, we're going to be able to use augmentation of our real reality, being audio augmentation in this case, to help make it easier for us to communicate in person, taking away that language barrier. And this is kind of now where I see a lot of AR and VR going, is moving towards a streaming technology. And what now? So building real-time XR apps has become more democratized, but I said, not all the best solutions exist. And with all the advancements we're seeing in native and emerging web technologies, the foundation supports for more complex AR, VR, XR experiences in general are starting to lay, like, the foundations are starting to exist so that people can create, more high-level, more immersive interactions among their users. I do apologize for some of the issues, but I recently published a Medium post, and this is not the right slide for it. I apologize for that, but there is a Medium post with all my talking points that I covered in here. I'll make sure to share it on social media. If you follow me on Twitter, @Hermes_F, or on LinkedIn, I'm sure Agora is going to promote it as well. Thank you very much for your time.